So in the last two videos you saw my coverage from the Leeds Video Game Market. However, what you didn't see was how frustrated and annoyed I was getting the short time we were there. So we got there around 10 o'clock and joined the queue straight away, and after about 10-15 minutes I turned around to see what the queue was like, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just thought, well, maybe some of these people have got 12 o'clock tickets. But no, apparently this was for the advanced entry. Now I heard some people saying there was around 800 tickets sold. Other people were saying there was well over 1,000 sold. I have no idea. But for an early bird ticket, there was far too many people in during that first hour. It wasn't that bad during that first hour. I managed to get some footage shot and visited a few stalls and had a good look for the games on my list. But after 12 o'clock, it was just horrendous, to the point where you couldn't actually get to the stalls, let alone film anything decent. So I was filming with my Sony camera with the microphone, so I was getting the sound as well as close-ups of the games, and my wife was using the GoPro to get some shots of me interacting with the stall holders. And it got to a point where she was getting pushed out of the way, so she couldn't really film. So that's why some of the footage is cut short, because she couldn't film on the GoPro because people were getting in the way of her camera. But that aside, even if I wasn't there filming, I wouldn't have had a pleasant experience anyway, because like I said, you couldn't get to half of the stalls, and trying to traverse down the aisles was like a task in itself. Now I've been to London Film and Comic Con several times, and it's been nowhere near as bad as this. This was like, just everyone was just crammed into like these small aisles. Now the actual room itself, a lot of people have said it's smaller than the Doncaster Dome. Going off memory, it was roughly the same size venue, but there was just far too many tickets sold. So usually at these events we stay till the end, or quite close to the end, but this time we just couldn't wait to get out, and we were there for about 2.5 hours. Now the event organisers have sent out emails to everyone who bought tickets for Leeds regarding their Doncaster gaming market in, I think it's May. 8th of May. So basically they've taken everyone's feedback into consideration, and they've made some changes. So now advanced entry is £6, I think it was £6 in Leeds, but this time restricting the numbers to 800, which is still a lot of people for like an early bird ticket. And then they're doing a second door entry at 12 o'clock, and that's only £4. And again, they're restricting the numbers to 800, so after 12 o'clock there'll be 1,600 people in that one room. And they're saying to prevent overcrowding, they're going to be doing a 1 in, 1 out policy. And then at 1 o'clock they're doing the standard entry. So in Leeds the advanced was at 11 and then the standard entry was at 12, so they're doing a separate ticket in between, which is the like a second door entry. So the standard entry is at 1 o'clock and it's just £3, and the tickets are available both online and on the door. And then after 2 o'clock they say the market is more relaxed, so there's minimal queuing after that time. Take this into consideration when planning your visits. So the problem I've got with that is if you turn up at 2 o'clock it's not going to be as busy, but a lot of the good stuff would have been sold. So it's good that they've taken people's feedback into consideration and done some changes. So only time will tell to see if these changes have worked. And while I was there, I had a chat with Gemma from the Gebs24 and Callum from Retro Ghetto. In fact, on Callum's video, I actually saw one of the games on my list, and it was from the same stall that I bought the Turtles from. It was just further up on the stall, and that was the Jurassic Park Rampage edition. So had it not been so busy, maybe I would have spotted that and ticked another game off my list. So on to the games that I actually did find. Obviously the first one is the big one I found, and that was Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Now, like I said in the video, I did have this years ago, but I sold it about 8, maybe 9 years ago, just because it was worth something and I just wanted to sell it to get some money for it, even though I loved the game. I think I sold it for £150 on eBay, and ever since then I've been kicking myself. So yeah, it's based on the arcade game of the same name, but this version is a lot different, and there's options to change your turtles to look like they did in the comics. There's extra levels, and some of the bosses at the end of those levels are different as well. It's a lot of fun, and it's 2 players as opposed to 4 players. It would have been nice if there was a way of getting 4 players to play this on the Super Nintendo, but it's just a 2-player game. So the next game I got, you saw me picking this up in part 1 as well. Now, I don't normally buy boxed NES games purely because of the price. I tend to buy loose carts, and this guy wanted £30 for this. There was no instructions with it, and I was about to walk away, and he just said he would do it for 22, and that is Shadow Warriors, or Ninja Gaiden, or Gaiden. Now, this was changed to Shadow Warriors because of the whole controversy with the word ninja in Europe. So Ninja Turtles became Hero Turtles, and Ninja Gaiden became Shadow Warriors. So yeah, I got this, even though there wasn't any instructions. I thought maybe in a few years' time I'll be able to find some cheap instructions. And I got home, checked on eBay, and I got this for, I think it was £21, with the instructions and a nice Nintendo branded dust cover, dust jacket, slipcase thing. So what I'm going to do is keep those and sell that. I'm not sure how much I'd get for that, but hopefully that would cover the cost of the instructions. So that was Ninja Gaiden, or Shadow Warriors. Now, this next one you saw me picking up in part 1, but you didn't actually see me pay for it. That's because I didn't pay for it. No, I didn't steal it. I got this from Alan, who runs the massive stall with all the import Japanese. I think it's called Alan's Japanese Import Games. It's got a store in Scotland called Forgotten Worlds, and I've bought a few things from him over the past few years, including an Atari Lynx that I got from Play Expo Blackpool, and there was a few problems with it, but he's sorted it out. I sent it to him, he repaired it, and when I tried to pay for this, he said, just take it. You know, all the problems you've had with the Lynx, just take it. And I was like, no, you've sorted it. I'm happy with the Atari Lynx now. And he's like, no, I insist, just take it. So that was Tiny Toons Adventures Buster's Hidden Treasure. Now, this is a game I played years ago, about 30 years ago, with my friend Elaine. She got a Mega Drive 2, and this was one of the games she got, and we used to just play it all the time. And I think I even borrowed it one day. Yeah, it's a really nice platformer. I think it's heavily influenced by Sonic, the platforming aspects of it. There's a lot of like inspiration taken from the Sonic games, and it's really nicely animated and a lot of fun. So yeah, that's Tiny Toon Adventures on the Mega Drive. So the next games are the stack of Master System games I got. Well, I say a stack, there's 6 of them. It's a stack in my eyes. So we're going to go with the ones I bought from the same seller. They all came to about £76, and he said he would do them for 70. And the reason why the price was so high was because of this one game, because it's a Sega 3D game, and that is Maze Hunter 3D. Now, I think this is the 4th 3D game I've got now. I've got Zaxxon 3D, Space Harrier 3D, and Missile Defense 3D, I think it's called. And this one kind of looks a little bit like Gauntlet. I mean, it's no Gauntlet. I've had a quick go. It's not the greatest game. It's kind of like a dungeon crawler in space. And the 3D aspect comes into play when you go to different levels of the game. So you start off on the top platform, you make your way around to the exit, and when you get to the exits, you appear in the second level, which is further away, or it would look further away in 3D. I didn't actually play it in 3D. And when you get to the end of that section, you go even further. So your character gets smaller and smaller as you go down. Good concept, but the gameplay is not the best. And that's complete, and I've started looking for complete games now, whereas in the past I would just look for boxed games, and this one's got a poster, like a product poster, which is always nice, so I don't really mind if it's not got that poster, as long as it's got the instructions and obviously the cartridge in the box. So yeah, that's Maze Hunter 3D. Moving on to the others. Now these ones were cheap and cheerful. I've only bought them because of that crazy minimalistic artwork that the early Master System games had, and that is World Soccer. I had no idea what I was doing in this game. It's not the best. I mean, it's no FIFA by any stretch of the imagination, and I think I've said in the past that my favourite soccer game, even though I'm not really into soccer, is Sensible Soccer on the Amiga. And again, it's got a nice poster, leaflet type thing there. Instructions. I had a quick go, I had no idea what I was doing, like I said. I didn't even last a full match, I just turned it off. So next up is another early game on the Master System. It's very similar to Pole Position, only not as good. And that is World Grand Prix, or World Grand Prix. With a very basic checkered flag with the black squares flying off. It's one of those games where you can't really overtake people, because if you do, part of the scenery just appears out of nowhere and you crash into it. So yeah, it's not a bad game. One thing I did like about this is the fact it's got a track editor, so you can make your own tracks and then watch yourself fail at them as well. So the next one is another sports game, and like I said, I really don't like sports games. The only sports games I like are things like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and any snowboarding games like SSX Tricky. Any games with balls I suck at, so I suck balls at these kind of games. And that one's Super Tennis. I spent most of the time dropping the ball, fouling. I think I managed to hit the ball a couple of times, and then my opponent hit it back and I hit it back at them, and I don't just really not into sports games. Maybe it's good with another player, but yeah, I just bought it because of that minimalistic artwork. And again, that's got the manual. Down to the last two now. Another one. Why I bought this, I'll never know. I think I got it because maybe the billiards section of the game would be good, and that's Parlour Games. So there's 3 games in this. There's billiards, darts, and World Bingo. So I thought, oh, the World Bingo could be interesting, and I hadn't got a clue what I was doing with that. I was just pressing all sorts. I mean, it would help if I read the manual, because it's got the manual with it. Billiards is probably the better game on the cartridge, and the darts one, I've no idea what I was doing wrong. I've tried all sorts. I was like getting my power meter to the top and throwing the darts, but it would always fall short of the board. Just another cheap and cheerful game to my Master System collection, which is getting out of control. And the last one is one which confused me. So again, it's one of those ones with a minimalistic artwork, but it's got a different name on the screen that it does on the box, and it does look like they've removed the last letter of the second word, and that is Secret Command. So on the actual title screen itself, it's called Secret Commando. So I'm not sure why they've decided to remove the last letter, the O. I thought maybe it's just a misprint, but no, it says Secret Command on the back, and it says Secret Command on the spine, and no doubt Secret Command on the instructions and the cartridge. So I've no idea why they've changed the name to Secret Command as opposed to Secret Commando. So it's kind of like an Akari Warriors Commando style game, only not as good. It's really frustrating because you end up like walking into rocks and bushes and you can't get past them, so you've got to walk round them and avoid the enemy fire. And there's hostages to free, which are in little huts, so you fire your rockets at the huts, and sometimes they just fly past the huts, so you've got to stand a certain distance away from the hut to blow it up. So yeah, it's no Commando, or even Rambo First Blood Part 2 on the Commodore 64. But it's a nice addition to the collection. I think I'll do a video one day of all my Master System games. And the final thing I got, I had to ask the guy if he was serious on the price, because it just seemed a little too low. He said, nope, that's the price I want for it. And it's one of those character joysticks, and this is the Batman Returns edition. So this is compatible with the Sega Master System, Commodore computers, Atari, and Amstrad. I'm surprised it'll work on the Amstrad, even though the connector's the same. The pinout's different, so but I don't think I'm going to try it on the Amstrad. Don't want to run the risk of damaging anything. So I've tried it on my Master System. Funnily enough, I tried it with Batman Returns, and all the functions work except for right. You've got to really press right really hard. But I only bought it because one, it was £5, and two, it's just a nice display piece. So that's everything I got from Leeds Video Game Market. Now we are going to the Doncaster one in May. I just need to buy tickets. I'm not sure whether to go for the advanced, the second entry, or the general entry at 1 o'clock. And I also need to book a hotel as well. So that way we can maybe make a weekend of it and go to Doorway to Darkness and see if he's got anything on my list. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.